On a cruise ship, there's an unspoken language everyone understands. It isn't words, it's the dramatic eye roll, the exasperated sigh, or that quiet anger that spreads when a few selfish habits manage to sour what should have been a dream vacation. Every traveler can recall that one passenger, the person who somehow found a way to ruin a perfectly good day for everyone within reach. That's exactly what we're diving into today, the 15 ultimate cruise ship sins. These are the quickest, surest ways to become the most disliked person on board. And let's be honest, you've definitely spotted at least a handful of these on your own trips. So, let's get into it. When we're done, I want to hear from you in the comments. What's the most unforgettable cruise blunder you've ever seen? Number 1. The infamous chair hog. We've got to start with the cruise crime that sparks judgment before most people have even had their first sip of coffee. Imagine this. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. The sun is crawling over the horizon. The pool deck is still silent, and hardly a soul is around. But what is there? Towels, paperbacks, and abandoned flip-flops stretched across every prime lounge chair, as if they've claimed the whole deck in the name of one entitled traveler. The culprits? Nowhere in sight. They're tucked into the buffet, snoozing in their cabin, or maybe even wandering the port for hours. And here's the thing. It's not just inconsiderate. It's usually against cruise policy. Hogging a chair isn't about saving a seat. It's about sending a not-so-subtle signal to every other guest that your comfort matters more than their vacation. On a packed sea day, those empty loungers become giant neon billboards of selfishness. People notice. You'll get the glares, the whispers, maybe even become a featured star in a photo that ends up on a cruise-shaming page online. And the twist? While cruise lines do technically ban chair saving, enforcement can be inconsistent at best, which means fed-up passengers often take action themselves by shifting your stuff out of the way or confronting you head-on. Trust me, that's the kind of tense, awkward moment you don't want to headline. And if you think the stolen chair side eye is bad, just wait. The next offense triggers full-blown outrage. Number 2. The buffet line breaker. You've been inching forward, step by step, waiting for that one glorious prize, the very last tray of golden, crispy shrimp. You can practically taste it. Then suddenly, an arm swoops in from nowhere, snatching a plate and piling it high, as if the entire line of patiently waiting passengers simply doesn't exist. No, excuse me. No eye contact. Just raw, unapologetic entitlement. Few things spark instant rage on a cruise ship quite like this. The buffet line is more than just a queue. It's a fragile social contract, an unspoken agreement that we all wait our turn. Break that contract, and you don't just steal food, you ignite a wave of frustration. You'll feel the ripple immediately. Tense shoulders, sharp whispers, and icy stares exchanged up and down the line. In that moment, you're no longer just another hungry guest, you're the buffet cutter. And on a ship where you're bound to bump into the same crowd day after day, that reputation clings to you like glue. But cutting the line is only the start of buffet blunders. The truly unforgivable sins? Sampling food straight from the communal spoon, letting the tongs hit the floor, and casually tossing them back. Or, worst of all, using your bare hands. Those aren't just rude, they're downright revolting. And while most people will simply glare in disgust, sooner or later someone will call you out, and suddenly your lunch becomes a full-blown public spectacle. Annoying people in a buffet line is bad enough. But when that selfish behavior follows them into a crowded dining space, that's when irritation turns into outright fury. Number 3. The elevator etiquette offender. On a cruise ship, elevators aren't just a way to get from deck to deck. They're a daily experiment in patience and basic social skills. And let me tell you, some passengers fail spectacularly. One wrong move, and you can irritate an entire crowd in seconds. So let's break down the 3 cardinal sins of cruise ship elevator etiquette. First, there's the door holder. After what feels like an eternity waiting, the elevator finally shows up. But instead of letting the crowd file in, one person plants themselves in the doorway, propping it open while they yell down the hallway for their family to hurry up. For the 60 seconds they stand there, they're not just inconveniencing the folks in the lobby, they're holding up every single person on every deck above and below. You can practically hear the synchronized groan ripple through the entire shaft. Next up, the rusher. This is the impatient soul who charges inside the instant the doors slide open, barreling forward before the poor passengers inside have even had a chance to step out. The result? A messy, awkward traffic jam that ends with a dozen annoyed glares, and maybe even a muttered seriously under someone's breath. And finally, the worst of the bunch, the squeezer. Picture it. The car is already shoulder to shoulder, air thick with too many perfumes and aftershaves, but this person still insists on wedging themselves in like the laws of physics don't apply. Suddenly, what could have been an uncomfortable ride becomes downright miserable. Pro tip: it's an elevator, not a clown car. Annoying people during a short ride is one thing, but keep testing their patience in the places they actually need peace, like their cabins, and that's how you turn irritation into true enemies. Number 4. The hallway slammer. Picture this. It's 2 a.m., the ship is whisper quiet and rocking you gently towards sleep. Then, out of nowhere, slam. A cabin door cracks shut like a gunshot in the corridor. A few minutes later, slam again. Those cruise doors are heavy and designed to self-close, but flinging them makes a shockwave that sails straight through those famously thin cabin walls. Congratulations, you've just made enemies you'll never meet. Maybe you stumbled in tipsy after a late night and didn't notice, but next door someone has been yanked out of sleep, heart racing in the dark, dreading every footstep and every future creak. You're not just creating noise, you're stealing the one thing everyone is desperate for on vacation: a proper night's rest. And believe me, people remember. When your neighbors spot you in the corridor the next morning, they won't call you out, but they'll know exactly who you are: the slammer from cabin 9214. On smaller ships, that quiet reputation trails you like a cloud. Folks might get over a lost hour of sleep, but they won't forgive the idea that you could be the reason the whole ship's vibe is ruined. Number 5. The hygiene ignorer. You're on your way into the buffet. Right there at the entrance is a neat row of sinks, big signs reminding you to wash up, and a cheerful crew member singing out, "Washy, washy." Most guests take 20 quick seconds to scrub their hands. But then there's always that one person who sails right past it all. No soap, no sanitizer, nothing, and goes straight for the plates. On land, maybe you'd shrug it off. On a cruise ship, this is practically a felony. With thousands of people sharing the same space, hygiene isn't optional. It's the invisible pact that keeps everyone healthy. Experienced cruisers know all too well how fast norovirus or any other bug can spread in a closed environment. Skipping the sink isn't just lazy. It's a loud message to everyone around you that your time matters more than their health. And yes, people notice. They see you touch those serving tongs and immediately exchange that look, half disgust, half warning. Some quietly steer clear of the dish you just grazed, while others mark your face in memory. And it's not just passengers. The crew clock it, too. They might not say a word, but trust me, they remember exactly which guests dismiss the single most important health rule at sea. In a setting where a little goodwill goes a long way, you've managed to lose yours before your first bite. And if hygiene violations make people uneasy, the next mistake cranks irritation all the way into open hostility. Number 6. The absent parent. Cruises are tailor-made for families. They've got pools, activities, arcades, and whole programs designed for kids. But some parents seem to hear family vacation and translate it into time off from parenting. The result? Children turning the ship's hallways into racetracks at 11 p.m., hammering every elevator button like it's a game, or wandering into adults-only sanctuaries like the spa or the quiet pool. Nobody expects kids to act like little monks. It's a family trip, after all. But when they're left to roam without any supervision, things go from playful to problematic fast. And it's not just about the noise. On a moving vessel filled with thousands of strangers, safety becomes a very real concern. Before long, the eye rolls, sighs, and whispered complaints aren't directed at the kids anymore. They're aimed squarely at the parents who are nowhere in sight. What makes this even harder to understand? Cruise ships already offer incredible kids' clubs, packed with games, activities, and staff to keep little ones entertained, and most of it is included in the fare. Yet when parents skip these programs and let their kids roam free, they essentially turn the entire ship into one giant, unwilling babysitter. Sure, the children might be having the time of their lives, but the rest of the passengers? They're the ones paying the price. And while unsupervised kids can test patience, the next offense doesn't just test it. It steals a moment the entire ship has been waiting for. Number 7. The sail away blocker. The band is playing. The ship's horn bellows that unmistakable blast, and the port slowly drifts into the distance. It's the kickoff to your vacation, the magical moment everyone's been waiting for. Except, you don't actually get to see it, because a human wall has claimed every inch of railing, and they're not budging for the next 45 minutes. Behind them, passengers are left on tiptoes, craning their necks, trying to peek through gaps between shoulders and elbows just to catch a sliver of skyline. That railing at sail away is prime real estate, and there's an unspoken rule. Grab your photo, soak in the view for a minute, and then step aside so someone else can have their turn. Park yourself there for the entire departure, and you've effectively hijacked a shared celebration and turned it into your personal photo shoot. And it gets worse. Some folks sprawl out with bags tossed across the rail to reserve space, or set up tripods like they're about to film a nature documentary. At that point, they're no longer fellow passengers. They've transformed into performers starring in their own private stage show, completely blind to the frustrated crowd gathering behind them. On a cruise ship, where the same faces reappear day after day, that selfish move sticks to your reputation like glue. People will remember you as that person. Annoying as it is to block a special moment, the next mistake takes it to another level, because this time, you're not blocking a view, you're blocking a necessity. Number 8. The laundry room hostage taker. It's a sea day, the perfect chance to sneak in a quick load of laundry. You make your way down to the cramped, humid little laundrette, only to find every single machine occupied. And not just in use, finished. The timers flash 0, cycles long done, while the clothes sit abandoned, clean and damp, their owner nowhere in sight. Maybe they wandered off to trivia. Maybe they're napping. Either way, they've turned those machines into personal storage lockers. On a ship carrying thousands of people, but only a handful of washers and dryers, this is no small crime. Forgetting your clothes isn't just careless, it's holding vital equipment hostage. Now you've got a line of irritated passengers pacing the hallway, checking their watches, muttering under their breath. And just like that, you've earned the dreaded reputation, the laundry hog. The worst part? You back everyone else into a miserable corner. Do they burn an hour of their vacation waiting you out? Or do they make the painfully awkward choice of handling a stranger's soggy underwear and dumping it on the nearest counter? More often than not, someone caves, pulls your load out, and leaves it in a sad, wrinkled pile, setting the stage for an unspoken, uncomfortable tension that lingers the rest of the trip. You've taken your problem and handed it to everyone else. And if hogging a washer sparks frustration, the next mistake is even more unforgivable, because this time, it robs people of the one thing more precious than clean clothes: peace and quiet. Number 9. The serenity breaker. You booked a cruise for relaxation, and when you need a real escape, you head to the adults-only solarium, a quiet little sanctuary where the soundtrack is the soft splash of water, pages turning in books, or whispered conversations. It's supposed to be the calmest spot on the entire ship. Then it happens. A group storms in, drags a cluster of lounge chairs together, and suddenly the vibe flips from spa retreat to sports bar. One person is on speakerphone having a full FaceTime chat. Another is recounting a story loud enough for 3 decks to hear, and within seconds the carefully crafted tranquility evaporates. These adult-only zones exist for one reason: to give passengers a break from the chaos of the main pool deck. When you turn them into your personal hangout, you're not just being inconsiderate, you're breaking the unspoken promise of the space. The reaction is instant. Heads lift from novels, eyes roll over the tops of sunglasses, and annoyed glances ricochet across the room. Eventually, you'll see the quiet ones give up, gather their towels, and leave, their afternoon completely stolen. Even if a crew member politely reminds the group to keep it down, the magic is already gone. The spell of serenity doesn't come back so easily. From that point forward, you're branded as that loud group. Other guests will spot you in the solarium, hesitate at the door, and turn away rather than gamble on another ruined afternoon. Noise fades with time, sure, but leave behind a mess for others to deal with? That triggers a whole different level of disgust. Number 10. the trash lever. You finally stumble upon the perfect quiet corner in a lounge, ready to sink into your book and relax. But instead of a clean table, you're greeted by the remnants of someone else's vacation. A sticky half-empty cocktail glass, a wadded-up napkin, and a plate with a sad, half-eaten sandwich. The culprit? Long gone. The mess? Still there, waiting for the next unlucky guest. Here's the kicker. Trash bins are everywhere on a cruise ship. Leaving your garbage behind doesn't just look careless, it screams entitlement. The message is loud and clear. Someone else will deal with this for me. And trust me, people notice. To fellow passengers, it reads as disrespect, not only toward the ship itself, but especially toward the crew members already hustling through endless tasks to keep things spotless. The moment you push back your chair and stroll away, anyone watching has already made up their mind about you. And it's more than just ugly manners. That abandoned food? It attracts pests. The sticky drink? Now the next person can't even use the table. And your laziness? It just dumped another chore onto a crew member who didn't need one more. On a ship where the same faces pop up again and again, reputations spread fast. Get pegged as the person who leaves trash everywhere. And it's a label that sticks harder than spilled soda. Leaving a mess is bad enough. It shows disrespect. But the next cruise sin? That one reveals something even worse. Raw, unapologetic selfishness. Number 11. The hot tub monopolizer. The sun is shining, the sea is calm, and all you want is a peaceful 15 minutes soaking in the hot tub. But when you arrive, your hopes vanish. The space has already been claimed, colonized, really, by the same group that's been parked there for hours. Drinks lined up along the edge, music blaring from a phone speaker, and not a single hint that they plan on leaving anytime soon. Here's the problem. Hot tubs are one of the rarest luxuries on a cruise ship. There are only a few, and demand is always high. So when one crew camps out for an entire afternoon, they're not just relaxing. They're stealing the opportunity from dozens of other passengers who never get a turn. That kind of behavior breeds resentment fast. Walkers-by see the scene, sigh, and shuffle away, realizing what should have been a shared amenity has been turned into a private club. And yes, those faces will be remembered, the people who owned the hot tub all day. The offense only deepens when the tub gets treated like someone's living room. Empty cups litter the ledge, voices get louder, maybe even snacks make their way into the water. The crew rarely intervenes, but trust me, every other passenger takes note. What should have been a communal oasis has been transformed into an awkward, unwelcoming no-go zone. And if hogging a hot tub sparks silent resentment, just wait, because the next sin doesn't stay silent. The disembarkation line? That's where irritation boils over into open hostility. Number 12. The disembarkation pusher. The ship eases into port, the gangway is set, and the announcement echoes overhead. Passengers may now disembark. It's the moment everyone has been waiting for. A neat, patient line forms in the stairwell until chaos enters the picture. Here they come, the pushers, bags slung in front like shields, weaving through families, sliding into gaps, and muscling ahead as if there's a medal ceremony waiting at the pier. But here's the truth. Everyone is heading to the same place. Shoving your way forward doesn't make the line move faster. It just turns an orderly process into a stressful, unsafe mess. Worse yet, it clogs the gangway. It screams one thing to every other passenger. My time matters more than yours. And unlike other cruise sins that get you a few eye rolls or quiet whispers, this one earns instant hostility. People glare openly, mutter sharp comments, and sometimes, they'll flat out tell you to move back. The cruel irony? Your aggressive maneuvering doesn't save time. The moment the line descends into chaos, the crew has to step in, slowing the flow for everyone, including you. So your desperate attempt to shave off 30 seconds just cost hundreds of people, yourself included, an extra 5 minutes. That's how you irritate an entire ship in one move. But the next mistake? That one makes life miserable for the single person you really shouldn't upset, your cabin neighbor. Number 13. The balcony nuisance. Your balcony is supposed to be your tiny oceanfront retreat, the spot for a peaceful morning coffee or a quiet sunset drink. But that little slice of heaven evaporates the minute the person next door treats their balcony like an open-air theater. Think late-night shouting matches, Booming speakerphone conversations that carry down the entire side of the ship, or music bleeding out from their cabin like the ship's playlist had a mind of its own. Here's the thing about balconies: they're not soundproof. Quite the opposite. Sound travels effortlessly over water, and those flimsy dividers barely do anything to stop it. What you consider a private chat is actually being transmitted to your neighbors, and that clatter from a drag deck chair to someone trying to sleep 2 doors down, it's like nails on a chalkboard inches from their ear. When you turn your balcony into a stage, you invade the one peaceful space your neighbors may have paid extra for. That's not just rude, it's a direct violation of their quiet. Noise complaints aren't shrugged off. Repeated disturbances can land you a knock from security and an official warning. Ruin one person's evening and they'll grumble. Wreck the whole deck's vibe and you'll be remembered for all the wrong reasons. Number 14. The overindulger. The unlimited drink package can feel like a golden ticket, and for most cruisers, it's exactly that, an invitation to kick back and have some fun. But there's always one person who takes it as a personal challenge, as if their mission is to squeeze every last drop of liquor out of the deal. It usually starts harmlessly, boisterous laughter at the pool bar in the afternoon. But by midnight, the same passenger is stumbling through the casino, raising their voice at strangers, or hollering down the hallway at 2 a.m. A few hours later, they're slurring through pointless arguments with other guests or even with the crew. At that point, the fun stops being fun. Their good time has turned into everyone else's problem. Instead of being the life of the party, they become the reason the party feels uncomfortable. People start dodging them, whispering about that drunk passenger, the cautionary tale they'll be telling friends back home. And the crew? They notice everything. Bartenders are trained to cut off anyone who's had too much, and if things spiral, security won't hesitate to intervene. The penalties are no joke. You can lose drink privileges for the rest of the cruise, get confined to your cabin, or in the worst-case scenario, find yourself escorted off the ship at the very next port. In other words, you can literally drink yourself right out of your vacation. But as bad as overindulging is, it boils down to a lack of self-control. The final sin on our list? That one shows something far worse: a complete absence of basic human decency. Number 15. The crew disrespecter. They are the heartbeat of every cruise. The cabin steward who greets you by name, the waiter who remembers you hate onions, the bartender who has your favorite drink halfway made before you even ask. These are the people working endless hours, often far from their families, just to make your vacation seamless. And yet, there's always that one passenger who doesn't see them as people at all, only as obstacles. They snap their fingers for attention, bark orders without a hint of please, or gripe over the smallest delay as if it were a personal offense. Every time it happens, everyone within earshot cringes. Because here's the truth: when you treat the crew poorly, you're not exposing their flaws, you're exposing your own. Other guests instantly label you that entitled passenger. And on a ship where reputations spread faster than sea breezes, that label sticks, from the dining room to the pool deck, all voyage long. Here's an insider secret: the crew talks. Word of a rude guest can travel from the bar staff to the stateroom attendants in a matter of minutes. And while they'll always remain polite and professional, you can kiss goodbye to the little touches of above and beyond service that make cruising special. In extreme cases, repeat offenders don't just get dirty looks. They get a final warning from security, or even an escorted walk off the ship at the next port. Disrespecting the crew isn't just impolite. It's the one unforgivable sin that guarantees you'll be remembered, and not for the reasons you'd ever want. And that's the list: 15 surefire ways to earn yourself a bad reputation at sea. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these crew sins have you actually witnessed? Share your stories down in the comments. I'm genuinely curious which ones happen the most. If this video helped you spot the red flags and you want to cruise a little smarter, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and dive into the other cruising guides waiting for you here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy every moment of your vacation, treat your fellow passengers with respect, and above all, be kind to the crew.